Hello everybody, my name is Mikey. I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and I wanted to make a quick video about video game addiction and some of my thoughts on it, and some of the things that have come up in recent years, as well as things that I think need to be discussed about. It's specific towards people who are between the ages of, I'd say, 15 and 20 years old. So for this video, we're just going to be walking around Hunter Call of the Wild. This is usually what I do when I want to talk about certain subjects. I usually just put on a low effort game that I can kind of just chit chat and focus on the talking subject and kind of just turn my brain off. So nothing intense. If I tried to do this with League or anything, it would not go too well. So here we go. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about addictive gaming tendencies of 15 to 20-year-olds. I know in America, this is kind of seen as a joke and kind of a silly thing right now, but more people are affecting it or are accepting it as a problem, and it's affecting more people. And I do know that in countries like Korea and I believe in China, they are actually listing it as a mental illness and something that you can be treated for. So I don't think, I think that's something, I think that's a little extreme of a move. I don't think it's a mental illness. I don't think it's something drastic or any more drastic than a gambling addiction or an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction. Yes, some may be more damaging to your health than others, but I would imagine that it's the same tendencies that are coming through. The same addictive personalities are going to be more prone to being addicted to video games as they are to alcohol and to drugs. It's just some people are more prone to habitual behavior, and some of that habitual behavior is not good. So the reason I picked this specific age group, because obviously people that are older struggle with video game addiction, and people that are younger, young people struggle with video game addiction too. But it's in these years of about 14, 15 to 20 years old. I just turned 21, and it can extend, into the years that I'm at right now, 21 and 22. But these are the years where you're making a lot of decisions on your life. You're being pressured by society to make a lot of choices, to make a lot of effort, and to put a lot of effort towards goals that right now you might not see the benefit of. So I wanted to dive in on that a little bit. But first, before we talk about specifically why I think 15 to 20-year-olds are more likely to have these addictive personalities and addictive tendencies, I want to talk a little bit about my experience going back the past 10 years or so with gaming, and can kind of give my own thoughts on why I think this is a problem. So when I started gaming, I had a PC in my room when I was probably, 6 or 7 years old. I got my first PC in my room. My dad was really big on us knowing technology, so that's something I had in my room. And I remember watching my sister play games on it. She also had a computer, but to spend time together, she would come in and play things like Oregon Trail. It was like an old version of Oregon Trail. She would play, there's a bear right here. Yeah, we'd play Oregon Trail, and we'd play Roller Coaster Tycoon, and we would have an absolute ball. And I got to really enjoy gaming, and that's kind of when the seed was planted for the next 10, 15 years after that. So what I did after that was me and my friends found mini clip games, Newgrounds games, the little online games you could play, a lot of like Stick War stuff and things like that. So had an absolute ball with that. And when I was old enough to get an N64, that's, my dad said, okay, you can start playing video games. And I got an N64, and we went on a family vacation where I spammed the hell out of it in the van we had. We had a little TV, and I hooked up the N64 to it. And from there, I continued on playing console games, nothing ever really grabbing me too hard, other than maybe Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360. So I went PS2, Xbox 360, and then to PS4, and then came full around to console game or to PC gaming. So I sold my console each time I bought a new one, and then I sold my PS4 to have some money towards building this PC that I'm playing on now. And I think that in my experience, the most addictive games that I ever played were all on the PC. And that's the specific one I want to talk about. It was in 2007 or 2005, 2006 to 2008 or 2009, I played RuneScape, now known as Legacy RuneScape or Old School RuneScape. And that was probably the most addictive experience I've ever had in my life. So I played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360, but with my friends. But I didn't go to the extremes that I felt obligated to when I would play RuneScape. So a very grindy MMO like RuneScape, while being immersed in a sea of people of the most popular game at the time, one of the most popular games at the time, to be able to compete with these people, to compete with your friends, and to show an advantage, and for people to think you're really cool for that, was really rewarding at that age when I was just starting to grow up. And so I spammed the hell out of that game. It got to a point where I was so dedicated to it that I would wake up an hour before school. Remember, this is an elementary school, or an hour before I normally would wake up, and I would play an hour of RuneScape, have breakfast, go to school, and we'd play football and basketball at school because we had 2 recesses. So I'd get my activity and come home, and if we weren't going to a friend's house to play more football or something, we would all get online and play RuneScape. And that's kind of how we bonded together. It was over the game. So what ended up happening was I started eking out more hours in a day. I was staying up later. I was trying to be more efficient with my time. And it did work out in some ways, where I was able to get what little homework I had done in school, even if it wasn't as good as it possibly could, to get home and play RuneScape. And I'm not bashing RuneScape. RuneScape did a lot of good things for me. It got me into finance. It taught me basic economics. I learned how to trade, like invest in stocks and use the stock market through RuneScape in like a virtual economy, and I got really good at it. And that carried over and piqued my interest to using it in real life, which I did starting around that age with my dad teaching me. So it did a lot of good things for me, but I noticed these addictive tendencies creeping up when I started staying up super late, or when my buddy and I would have a sleepover and we'd stay up all night playing RuneScape. It wasn't healthy, but that's just something we felt like we had to do. It was just a draw that the game had on us. So when I wanted to specifically target RuneScape here because I believe it's the most addictive game I've played, but there's also one more that I feel like I have to discuss. So as I moved away from RuneScape, it became an uncool thing to do. It became less popular. It kind of died when they started changing the game. I switched over at that time to the console generation, where I played a lot of Call of Duty, but a lot of that was very constructive. It was very social with my friends. I didn't play too much solo. But when I came back around to PC gaming, I found one of the most addicting games that people will talk about now, and that's League of Legends. And the draw to League of Legends was very different, but also at the same time shared some similarities with the draw that RuneScape had. So I think the draw that pulled me towards the competitive games was once again the ability to compete amongst a group of people and show prowess. And this is how I'm looping back around to my point that I think that it targets this age demographic of 15 to 20 to maybe 25-year-olds very well, because at this age you're trying to find your place in the world. You're trying to become good at something. You're trying to show prowess in something, and you want to have something to be known for. You're kind of lost, and you want to be the guy that has something that people can say, okay, that he's good at that. And I think that's what a lot of people search for. So when you're a very rich guy in RuneScape, when you're the richest of your friends and they ask you for financial advice in RuneScape, it was a cool thing. I felt good about that. When, if people know you as the League guy, oh, he's really high ranked in League, people like that feeling. They like to be recognized for their effort. And I'm not saying they don't enjoy the game, but there's a lot of people who continue to play games, and this is where the addictive tendencies come in. They play games and continue to play games while they don't enjoy it anymore themselves. They're doing it purely for the accolades or purely for the bad habit that they've turned up. And I'm even starting to feel this a little bit with League. I'm all my friends left League pretty much. I have a couple friends that play it from time to time, but all my friends that were playing it seriously and grinding a few years ago have left League. And the reason I came back to League after a year off was simply to make YouTube content. And I'm starting to hit that wall where I realize it's an addictive behavior because I want content for the channel rather than this is what I enjoy doing and this is what I want to be putting out onto the channel. So I think being aware of which games draw the most addictive personalities out of people is very important. And I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say that MMOs and competitive gaming experiences that have a huge community behind them can be the most damaging. Yes, we have all bought in Skyrim in 2012 or 2011 when it came out, and we got home with it and we might have played it all night before school. That's something that's common. I feel like with some single player games, you get excited about a single player game, but you rarely see the addiction and the draw of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that some of these big multiplayer titles hold. Things like Call of Duty, things like League of Legends, things like Dota 2, things like RuneScape, things like World of Warcraft. I think it's a whole different breed of monster that can really creep up on you in an unhealthy way. So yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about this. Before getting on to the next few things that I want to discuss about how to change your mindset about gaming and how to make sure that you're not in a toxic relationship with gaming, I wanted to just touch on those two. That I really believe that MMOs and competitive ranked systems are the most addicting forms of gaming. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You can totally play those and control yourself. I'm just saying people that have addictive tendencies, I think that this is the number one or the two leading genres that can cause problems. So now I want to look at how to fix these problems. And I've been bashing gaming, even though it's one of my biggest hobbies. I even have a small YouTube channel dedicated to it. And now I want to take some time to talk about what I think can enhance the hobby and how I think you can start to enjoy it in a more healthy way. Well, we have our moose here. Okay, so when I have had bad experiences with gaming, the one thing that I have found is generally when I put my eggs in one basket. And what I mean by that is I am using gaming as escapism rather than as a free time hobby. So the times I have done this in the past were when things started going south for me when I started developing in like 5th and 6th grade. I buried myself into RuneScape because I was trying to find an identity, and I was kind of a quieter guy in school, and I didn't, I had a few really close friends, but other than that, there wasn't a ton of people that I was talking to. I was really starting to develop some anxiety and depression surrounding school, so I tried to just bury myself in RuneScape. I'll be the RuneScape guy. People will come to me for RuneScape questions, and they did, and that was really cool. And another time that I struggled with it was League of Legends freshman year of college. I struggled a little bit, and I would do a homework assignment, and then instead of going out and talking to people, I'd bury myself in League because it prohibited me from having to go out and seek new friends and things like that, which was pretty damaging to me in my first year when the friend group I did have there didn't work out so well. So what I have noticed with gaming is when you fix your life, your IRL life, your gaming will follow it. And I know a lot of people say that's cheesy, but I've heard pro gamers even talk about this when discussing how to get better at competitive games. And I have felt this directly in League. So a big problem is that when people escape into games, they start to put more weight on the games. Now, this isn't as prevalent in like a community like RuneScape or World of Warcraft, where people become toxic because you're not really, your ability to progress in the game is largely dependent on your ability to play the game. Whereas in a game like League of Legends, it's team reliant. People get very toxic because they're putting all their eggs in this basket of getting better. And when the one thing in their life that they're escaping to isn't going well, they get very upset and they become very mean and an ugly person to deal with. And it's sad, but that's just the case. So I think you have to first off, if you're trying to fix a gaming addiction, you got to look at your surrounding life and realize what's going wrong. Are you doing this for escapism? Is it because you have an addictive personality and you just really enjoy the game? Is it because you just had a breakup and you just need something to distract you? You need to figure out what's going on and you need to fix it. You need to go, either go back to school, or you need to sell more if you're a salesperson, or you need to work a little harder at your job, or you need to get a second job, or if money's tight, or you need to do more business if you have a small business. All those things can change they can change the way you're perceiving your problem. It can change the world around you. And when you change the world around you, you're going to be a more positive person, and you're going to enjoy the free time you have to game a lot more. And heck, you might even get better because the stress of this is the only thing I'm doing. I have to be good at it. If I'm not good at the only thing I'm doing, then what's the point? You got to get out of that mentality. That's not a healthy mentality to be in. So I wanted to touch on that. Another point that people tend to kind of use as an excuse for gaming addiction, and this ties into fix your life and makes things better, is the odds are you're not going to make it pro, or you're probably not going to make a career out of this in the short term, at least. Now, there are some very motivated people who have something very good to offer the community, and they can stream now with Twitch nowadays. You can, with YouTube, you can build a brand, you can compete. All these things are really, really good for people that want to eke out a living doing this. But are you doing this to feed your addiction, or are you doing this because it's genuinely a career you want to embark on? A very difficult career, I bet a lot of streamers would tell you. Now, some people say, oh, well, it's an easy job. You just play the game you enjoy. That's not true. It's a very tough career, and it's a very competitive market. And to be able to reap the rewards of being able to play a game for a living, it takes a lot of effort beyond what most people are willing to put forth. So what I was going to say about this is people justify their bad habits. Well, once I make this goal, I'll be able to do X. And I've been guilty of this with League in the past few months with this gaming channel. Once I hit Diamond 5, people will want coaching more than they do now. And that'll make me money. Okay, so that makes sense. It's a good decision to grind solo queue, rather than looking at my big life goals as being a more pressing matter. Do you see what I'm saying here? So I think that you got to understand you have to realize how the situation actually is. The odds are very stacked against you that you're going to make a living doing this. And if you are going to make some money doing this, it's most likely going to be part-time, and it's just a little bit of beer money. That's just the honest truth. And that's if you're successful. If you're not successful, which you won't be probably for the first few years unless you're a prodigy, then it's just going to be very lackluster. And I would recommend against it. So don't use that as an excuse to feed your addiction. Figure out why you're gaming excessively, what's going on in your real life, and fix that. So I'm really glad you guys tuned in. I know this was kind of a rambly video, but this was just something I just felt like I had to talk about. It's something I'm pretty passionate about, and something that I feel like people fall victim to way too often. And I don't want to see people that I care about and my subscribers struggling with this in one of the most important times in their lives. Luckily, I kind of snapped out of it multiple times, but I know a lot of people who didn't, and it's kind of late. It postpones you see it online all the time. Guys like Wings of Redemption, guys like, trying to think of some more. You watch these videos of these people who they're delusional about their success because they can't accept the fact that they weren't successful in their lives, and they've kind of just closeted it up. They've kind of just accepted the fact that they are where they are, and they're 30, 35 years old. So if you can fix this, and understand and be aware of your problems when you're 15, 20, 21, 25, it gives you that freedom of space to be able to explore the life you want to live rather than to fall into bad habits. And I think if older guys tune in down below, let us know. You know, you got guys like Boogie had totally turned his life around after being a shut-in for 7 years playing EverQuest. If you don't know Boogie, he's a big YouTuber, Boogie2988. You can go check him out. So it's possible for all of us to change at any age. You know, he did that at like age 30. You know, it's possible to change, and I really hope you guys make an effort to be healthier and happier. And if you need to fix your life, I'm not saying get rid of gaming. I'm just saying understand why you're gaming and try to turn it into something that's healthy and constructive and something you can enjoy and be positive about rather than something that's really negative. So I'm going to end the video here, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't like it, if you don't like these rambling videos, just let me know in the comments. I just really like to practice getting in front of the microphone and talk about things that I'm kind of passionate about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like the content here, feel free to subscribe, and I hope to talk to you guys in the comment section. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day.